So guys, what's going on? Guys, this is a bit of a different video. I'm responding back to one of my subscribers, and I might start doing this a bit more actually, just so I can get in touch with you guys a little bit more, responding to some of your comments. Hopefully start doing some live streams. But let's see, let's see moving forward. But I'm gonna start doing this where I'll start responding to some of your comments. I want to respond to my friend 2Thai TV. Firstly, I want to say I got mad love for you. We don't always agree, we don't always see the same things, but we have great debates, and I love responding to you in the comment section as well. And you get your opinions across, and I respect your opinions, and I respect what you've said here as well. I don't agree with it. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree with it in this video. But let me read out your comment. You say Crawford is right. Manny has been ducking Crawford forever and is ducking Spence now. They were both on Top Rank and Manny never wanted it. Now Spence calls him out in the same ring and Manny chooses Thurman. Manny's rep as a warrior who will fight anybody is hugely overrated. His ducks of Spence and Crawford can't be forgiven. He knows Crawford will outbox him and make him silly, and Spence punishes him and stops him. Please stop saying Manny will fight anybody when the facts say otherwise. He has 10 fights with 3 fighters. It's a lot of fighters he hasn't fought in this era. Okay. Firstly, I want to say this isn't a personal dig at you or nothing. This is just me responding to your comment. Again, like I said, I got mad love for you, mad respect, and I respect your opinions, not just this one, but all the other ones that you've made. But I don't agree with what you had to say, and I'm going to tell you why now. You say that Manny's been ducking Crawford and Spence, and he's been ducking Crawford since 2015. Firstly, Manny was fighting in a different weight to Crawford at that point. Crawford was fighting at 140. Yes, he was with Top Rank, but they were at different weights. That's like saying, why don't they Lomachenko and Crawford fight? Because they're at different weights. Now Manny is with he was with Top Rank, but he left Top Rank because there was a possibility of Mayweather probably coming back, so he joined Al Heyman, right? Also, let me go back on that. Manny and Crawford were together when Crawford moved up to welterweight. However, the money wasn't there in that fight. Manny's not going to just take a fight when the money's not... Crawford doesn't sell like that. I did say I feel like Manny's probably more interested in a Crawford fight, and he has reached out now, more interested to fight Crawford because the money's probably going to be greater because Crawford's a welterweight world champion. Okay. Now, then you went on to say that Manny chose to fight Keith Thurman and Doc Spence, right? At the time when Manny fought Thurman, what makes you say that Spence was a more credible champion than Thurman? Thurman was undefeated. Spence was undefeated. What made Spence a more credible champion than Thurman? If I break down Spence's wins, he's beat Mikey Garcia, he's beat Kell Brook, and he's beat Sean Porter. These are the 3 names that stand out on his resume, right? Brook was damaged goods after Golovkin. He had his eye sockets busted against Golovkin, and then he fought Spence. But still, that was a great win from Spence, and I think that's his best win till date because he went over to England, went over to Kell Brook's backyard and beat him, knocked him out. So fair enough. Then beat Mikey Garcia, right? He beat Lamont Peterson, but Lamont Peterson was way past his best. He then beat the next big win was against Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is a 135 pounder. He's not a welterweight. Everybody knows that, right? It's crazy how when Canelo fights somebody smaller, everybody criticizes him and hates on him, right? Even though Canelo's resume is stellar, but Spence fights him and all of a sudden Spence is unbelievable. He outclasses him. Like, do you see what I mean? I feel like certain fighters are just put on a pedestal, and other fighters are just have to do a lot more to gain a bit of respect. Then he fought Sean Porter in a life and death fight where I thought he just nicked it. A lot of people thought it should have been a draw. Some people thought he lost. Teddy Atlas, who's a massive fan of Spence, had the fight a draw. So that fight was life and death. Keith Thurman's major wins at welterweight were against Sean Porter in much cleaner fashion than Errol Spence. And he fought him earlier, right? And he beat Danny Garcia. So, and at that time when Pacquiao fought Thurman, Spence hadn't fought Porter. So it's hard to say that Manny ducked Spence to fight Thurman when Spence at that point's resume wasn't that great, right? And he was just another champion just like Thurman. So what makes you say that Spence is a more credible champion than Thurman? Let's not forget, both of these guys have achieved the same amount, right? Thurman was a unified champion. Spence is a unified champion. You know, it's not like Spence is a multi-weight division world champion. Crawford's resume we know about. However, Crawford from a titles point of view has achieved more, but his resume at welterweight is fairly poor as well. So I think Manny at the time was probably fighting a welterweight that probably had the strongest resume out of all those two. So I don't think you could say he's ducking Spence by fighting Thurman when Thurman was a champion and a very credible champion. At that point, he was undefeated as well. You know, so, and the other thing is, you've got to understand, Manny's 41. Right? And I know you're a Mayweather fan. Right? Would you be having the same energy towards Mayweather if he was still fighting? You know, Manny's 41, and yet he still beat Thurman. That's incredible. Let's not forget, not many people thought Manny would beat Thurman, and he beat Thurman. That deserves a lot of respect. And Manny's got a stellar resume. Manny's fought Cotto, Margarito, Hatton, Mayweather, Clottey, you know, the Barrera, Marquez, Morales. You know, Manny's got a stellar resume. He's got a Hall of Fame resume. Let's compare his resume to Spence and Crawford's. There isn't much there. They're 30 years of age. And again, you're probably going to come back at me. I haven't got a problem. I like these debates. I like back and forth as long as it's respectful. I love going back and forth and coming back and you giving your opinion, me giving my opinion. But you can't deny that you can't really compare their resumes. Manny's got a Hall of Fame resume. He's an 8-division world champion. Spence and Crawford's resumes are terrible in comparison. It's not, I'm not even going to say terrible. You can't compare. You can't compare. These guys are almost 30 plus now. And their resumes don't come anywhere near. Pacquiao at the age of 30 had already fought. He was already a multiple weight world champion. He had already fought so many killers. And then he fought so many killers after that as well. And then at 41, you still want him to keep fighting the best. We'll see when Spence and Crawford get to 41 whether they'd be fighting killers. Or whether they're even fighting at that point. Do you know how hard it is to be fighting at this guy's age? He's been in the game for almost 4 decades. The man's been fighting. He's been championing across 4 decades. Like, it's unheard of. So I think for you to criticize Manny and say Manny's ducking Crawford or Spence, I just don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. You know, Manny is in a league of his own. And again, this has got nothing to do with me being a Manny fan, Spence fan. I have love for every fighter. They get in the ring, they put entertainment. But I don't think it's up for debate, right now, that Spence and Crawford's resume doesn't resonate to Manny's. It's not even close. It's not even close. And it's going to be difficult for them to get that kind of... The guys fought legends, man. The guys fought Hall of Famers, like so many. Some people fight 1 or 2 Hall of Famers and you think it's a fantastic career. This man's fought 7 or 8. Maybe more. Morales, Barrera, Marquez, Pacquiao. Morales, Barrera, Marquez, Mayweather. You know, Cotto, Margarito. Margarito's not a Hall of Famer, but do you see where I'm coming? That's 5 or 6 guys. Mosley, De La Hoya. We're talking about Hall of Famers here. And he's beaten a lot of them. You know, this is what I'm trying to say. To compare Manny to Spence and Crawford, it's just ridiculous, I think, personally. The fact is, the other thing, to come back to your point about Manny Duck, I believe Manny will fight them. He will fight Spencer Crawford. That just shows a warrior, how much of a warrior he is at the age of 41. Like I said, let's see when Spencer and Crawford get to 41, whether they're fighting top competition, right? Because you have to compare comparative. Manny would have destroyed Spencer Crawford in his prime. I think that's not really up for debate. You know, the way he dismantled the world-class fight. And I don't know whether Spence would beat guys like Cotto or De La Hoya. I don't think so, if I'm honest. He wouldn't be favourite, for sure. You know, and Manny's wiped the floor with those guys. You know, Spence is having trouble with Porter. I think if he's having trouble with Porter, what would Cotto have done? You know, so we've got to be real here. We've got to look at... I just feel that, fair enough, I respect what you're having to say, but I just think it's, how can you say Manny's been ducking those guys? He's 41, he's just fought Thurman, and what's to say he's not going to fight Spencer and Crawford? It's not like he's come out and said, I'm not going to fight them. So I disagree with what you're saying, but you know, you're entitled to your opinion. I'll love it if you come back and give your opinion to what I've just said. And then, you know, I'll respond to you in the comment section. But guys, I am going to start doing this a lot more. We're responding back to some of your comments. I think it's a great way of interacting with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed my response to your answer. I'm looking forward to your response. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Make sure to like the video. It's really helping my algorithm. I want to thank you guys for liking my videos. I have seen in the last, you know, month or so where you've really started liking my videos, and it's definitely improving. You know, I see the dislike to like ratio is you know, is going in the right direction. So I thank you all for your support. Keep supporting, keep showing that love, and we'll keep growing together. Guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Guys, I still see that a lot of you are taking my comments about Terence Crawford very personally. Yeah, I find it kind of funny. Some of you come into the comment section and say, I don't like this guy, and you know, I find it very, very funny because here's the thing. I'm going to break it down for you. I've said this many times to you in the past. I have no favorite. Obviously, I have my favorite fighters, but I don't have anything against any fighter, right? Stop being fanboys. You know, I'll tell you what a fanboy is. A fanboy is somebody that it doesn't matter what his favorite fighter does. Even if it's wrong, you'll support him. That's not a fan of boxing. Now, a lot of you criticize me, or you'll probably say, well, you do the same with Khan. I don't, though. Because I'll say it how it is. I've criticized Amir Khan's career many times on my channel. Right? I've said that he shouldn't have chased Mayweather and Pacquiao. He wasted a lot of his years chasing that fight. He wasted a lot of time. You know, he shouldn't have done that. I said that Amir Khan would lose to Floyd Mayweather. I think he would have caused Floyd Mayweather a lot of trouble, but I think he would have lost. I think he would have lost to Manny Pacquiao. Someone like Miguel Cotto would beat him. You know, I'm not here being a fanboy where I'm delusional about someone. You know, when I say something, I say what I believe. So if I say to you, I believe an in prime Amir Khan could have beat Terence Crawford, I believe that. That's not, you know, it doesn't mean I'm right. That's what I believe, though. Right? But if you're saying I don't like this guy because I've got an opinion about Terence Crawford, and I believe that Terence Crawford hasn't fought top level fighters, and until he does that, I can't say he's special. Because how can you say someone's special when he's not fighting top level fighters in the welterweight division? I keep saying to you, his best win is against a guy who was past his prime in Amir Khan. That's his best win, really, when you look at it, right? You can say what you want, but I know what I'm saying is correct. And listen, there's a reason why Naseem Hamed's not an all-time great. There's a reason why, you know, there's many fighters that are not considered all-time greats, but had huge amount of fans. You know, Naseem Hamed had a huge cult behind him, massive fan base. But if you look at the boxing experts, they don't really call him an all-time great. You know why? Because his opposition wasn't great. The guys that he was beating wasn't elite level competition. There's a reason why he's not in that bracket, because his competition was poor. And Terence Crawford right now is in that bracket. In that bracket, yes. Now, if Terence Crawford was to beat Manny Pacquiao, or was to beat Keith Thurman, or was to beat Errol Spence, do you think I'm not going to give him credit? This isn't a personal thing against Terence Crawford. This is just stating facts, that he's not fighting top level competition. So that's me saying facts. So what you need to do, you need to become more fans of the sport rather than a fan of an individual fighter. Because if you're hating on me for saying the truth, because what I'm doing is I'm stating facts. The guy's resume is fairly poor, right? When you look at it, it feels like he's been protected. Now, whether he's getting ducked or whether he's the one that's making it difficult, we don't know. We don't know. We're not privy to that information. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know whether Terence Crawford is legitimately being ducked or whether he's the one that's stopping it. We just going off what we're hearing from the media. So at the end of the day, you've got to understand, I'm not here criticizing Crawford. If Crawford beats Spence, Pacquiao, Thurman, I will give Crawford his credit. Right? But what I'm saying to you, as of right now, he's a 3-weight world champion. But let's not forget, Broner's a 4-weight world champion. So are we going to say Broner's better than Crawford because he's a 4-weight world champion? If you look at it, his achievements are even more than Crawford's. So this is what I'm trying to say to you guys, that there's no vendetta. I've got nothing against Terence Crawford. I'm just saying a fact. I'm just stating that I don't think his level of competition has been what it should be. And right now, he needs to prove a lot to a lot of people, to his own fans, to boxing fans. It's not anything against him. Am I saying anything unreasonable? I don't think I am. If Crawford beats Pacquiao or Spence, he will get his credit from the boxing fans, from everybody. But at the end of the day, I don't feel what I'm saying is anything wrong. Now, if it's you're getting butthurt about what I'm saying, it's probably because you're the one that's not looking at it with a clear mind. You're looking at it as a fanboy rather than as a boxing fan. Because if you were looking at it as a boxing fan, right, there's no way that you could say that, yeah, the guy's got a great resume, he's fought great fighters. Terence Crawford's achieved a lot, but his resume is poor. He hasn't got many, what would you say, Amir Khan, Jeff Horn, these are his best names. Ricky Burns, these are some, Delorme, Postal, these are his names that he's fought. So there's no vendetta. He beats Thurman, he beats Pacquiao, he beats Spence, he'll get his credit. I'm giving my opinion. I don't think those fights will be easy, and I think he probably loses maybe 2 of those 3. I think he loses to Pacquiao. I think he loses to Spence. But that's my personal opinion. That's not me hating on a guy. If you think a team's going to beat somebody, does that mean you're hating on that team? That's just your opinion. As a fan, I'm stating my opinion. I'm not trying to justify myself. I'm just trying to tell you what I believe. When I say something, I believe that. I'm not saying it for the sake of saying it. I'm saying it because I believe that. I believe Pacquiao will beat Terence Crawford. Just like I believe Pacquiao would beat Thurman. That's not hating on a guy if I think someone's going to beat someone. Terence Crawford could prove me wrong. Yeah. I thought Amir Khan would beat Terence Crawford. He proved me wrong. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's just as an opinion on what I've seen throughout Crawford's career so far. I think there's vulnerabilities there that Spence and Pacquiao will exploit. So that's my opinion. It's not hating on Crawford. I've got nothing against Crawford. I wish him the best. If he was to win against Pacquiao and Spence, he'll get his credit. But a lot of you need to stop being a fanboy of a fighter and be a fanboy of the sport and actually understand where I'm coming from. Rather than thinking that you're a hater because you're saying things against Crawford. No, that's not called hating. That's called stating what I believe about a fighter. That's not hating. Do you see where I'm coming from? It's not called hating. But again, the people that or Terence Crawford fans, they're not gonna want to hear that. They just want you to say good things about him, never critique him, criticize Spence in the past, criticize Crawford, criticize Khan, criticize Mayweather, even criticize Pacquiao. So it's just what I believe. But that's my take on it, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you're thinking, guys. Remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support. Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page. And I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute, I've got two options. Hopefully, I will increase this if my Patreon grows. But at the minute, I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face. And I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out. Guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying at home. Let's talk a little bit about Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford. Now, I've been making quite a few videos about this because I'm very passionate, and I've been going back and watching Terence Crawford's fights. Right? Obviously, we're at home. There's not much to do. Watching Terence Crawford's fights, and I'm not impressed. I was never impressed with Terence Crawford in the sense that he's a good fighter. He's got good skills. But I'm not that impressed by him. I don't think he's as good as what people make him out to be. I do think he's overhyped a little bit. There is a lot of, his resume is weak. And, he's beating... the fighters that he's beating, they're decent level names, but nothing special. He hasn't faced, in my opinion, elite level guys. Like I said, I keep saying the same thing, that his best name on his resume is Amir Khan, and Amir Khan was past his best when he fought him. I personally think that Pacquiao knocks him out. I'm picking it now. I think Manny Pacquiao will knock out Terence Crawford when they fight. And people may say I've had people say this before to me, that no chance. There's no way. Again, stop looking at Crawford. He got hurt by Kavaliauskas in his last fight. Right? Kavaliauskas is a top 15 welterweight. Benavidez was fighting on one leg, and he went 12 rounds with Crawford. When you got guys like Bernard Hopkins coming out and saying Crawford will knock out Pacquiao, like, on what basis? He couldn't struggle to knock out Benavidez. Thurman couldn't knock out Pacquiao. Thurman's a big puncher. Crawford's not a big puncher, and especially not at welterweight. There's no way that Crawford's knocking out Manny Pacquiao, that's for sure. Bernard Hopkins, but he was the same guy that said Wilder will knock out Fury. Did he or did he not? So at the end of the day, I think Pacquiao will knock out Crawford. I'm very certain that he knocks out Crawford, because firstly, I think Crawford's chin is suspect. I've seen various fights. I think Errol Spence will knock out Terence Crawford, as far as I'm concerned. And this is not hating on Terence Crawford. I like Terence Crawford. He's a good fighter. I'm not a big fan. I don't think he's as good as what people make him out to be. But he's a good level fighter. Poor resume, but good level fighter, but there's no way. There's no way he's better than Sugar Ray Leonard. What Bob Arum said, I made a video about it. I've just made a video before I made this one, but I think Pacquiao knocks him out. Honestly, I think Pacquiao will knock him out. And I'm quite. To me, it's not an upset, and I think he'll knock him out. There's not much more I can say. I think Manny Pacquiao will knock out Terence Crawford when they fight, because thing is with Terence Crawford, he gets hit a lot. I've noticed in his fights, people talk about this guy's this elusive guy. No, he's not. Khan hit him. Benavidez hit him. Even Horn landed shots on him. This guy gets hit a lot, right? And I don't think he's got the greatest chin in the world, if I'm honest. I don't, because he is being caught and hurt. Like Kavalauskas hurt him in the last fight, and people may say, yeah, but he won. But he was what was he? A top 15 welterweight. You know, he's not even a top 5, top 10. Like, I don't even know if he's top 10. Kavalauskas. He's even a top 10 welterweight. Kavalauskas. And he's troubling Crawford. Now, Bob Arum saying Terence Crawford is better than Sugar Ray Leonard, right? Put Kavalauskas in there with Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime, right? And you guys tell me, does Kavalauskas even survive 3 rounds with Sugar Ray? Do you see where I'm coming from here? That this man, he's a good fighter, but he's being pumped out to be something he's not, I believe. And I believe Manny Pacquiao, even at the age of 41. And here's the thing. There are some people out there that think Manny Pacquiao's a dangerous fight for Crawford. No one thinks that Crawford blows Manny Pacquiao out the water. There will be few Crawford fans that think he blows him out the water. But everybody knows that Manny Pacquiao's a dangerous fight for Crawford. And Manny Pacquiao's 41. Let's not forget that. He's 41 years of age. Now, Manny Pacquiao's not in his prime anymore. Crawford's in his prime. So that in itself shows that Crawford's not... She's not Sugar Ray Leonard, that's for sure. Because I love Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao at the age of 41 wouldn't be able to beat in prime Sugar Ray Leonard. I think even the Pacquiao fans will agree with that. But I believe he knocks out Terence Crawford. Even at the age of 41. I think Terence Crawford will have a big reality check when he faces the top welterweights. I believe Thurman could beat him. I think Spence will beat him. And I think Manny Pacquiao can beat him as well. I think Manny Pacquiao could stop. I think Spence will definitely... I'm very certain after watching Crawford's fights now that I think Spence will definitely stop Crawford. But I think Pacquiao has a very good chance of stopping him as well. But with Spence, I'm very certain if Spence is the same guy, he'll knock out Crawford, I think. And I think Pacquiao has a good chance of knocking out Terence Crawford as well. But in terms of Bernard Hopkins saying that he feels that Crawford knocks out Pacquiao late, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't think Crawford has that kind of power. And Pacquiao's, we all know, has got a very good chin. Sorry, I don't see it. You know, if Crawford wins against Pacquiao, it'll be by points. And again, I think Pacquiao can crack him. I think Pacquiao cracks him, Crawford's in big trouble. Because although Pacquiao's not had a knockout, I do think Crawford's not a solid welterweight. And I think if Pacquiao lands a good punch, a good left hand, I think Crawford was in big trouble. Let's not forget, Manny Pacquiao hurt a big welterweight in Thurman. And Thurman's got a decent chin. It's just that he can't take good shots to the body. But I think Pacquiao knocks out Terence Crawford. That's my personal opinion. And I'm going to keep that opinion. If the fight gets made, I'm going to keep that same energy. I think Pacquiao will knock out Terence Crawford. I'm more worried about Pacquiao fighting Spence because I think Spence is a problem. Spence is a big problem for Pacquiao. I'm going to be honest. But Crawford, Manny, I think Manny should take the Crawford fight over the Spence fight because I think he'll knock Crawford out. Simple as that. That's my take, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support.
Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page, and I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute, I've got two options. Hopefully, I will increase this if my Patreon grows. But at the minute, I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face. And I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out.
So guys, Terence Crawford accuses Manny Pacquiao of ducking him since 2015. Terence Crawford says he's been looking to fight Manny Pacquiao since 2015. I'm just going to read out what Mr. Terence Crawford had to say. Terence Crawford says, I say I'd rather fight Pacquiao because he don't have that much longer in the sport. I would want that name on my resume. Then Spence, that's the fight. Then Spence, because that's the fight that everyone wants to see. Okay, he goes, me. I've been trying to fight Pacquiao since 2015. That's not a secret that it's a big fight. I've been looking forward to. Back when I was trying to fight him, he was fighting guys like Brandon Rios, Jesse Vargas, Tim Bradley 2 more times. I don't know what it was. I just think they didn't like my style or whatever it was. Now that he's at the last leg of his career, maybe it is about the money. For Pacquiao to get in the ring with me or Errol Spence, he's going to have to get paid for it. Okay. Manny Pacquiao. Terence Crawford says he's been trying to fight Manny Pacquiao since 2015. Right? I've been following this Terence Crawford Manny Pacquiao thing. Terence Crawford saying that Manny Pacquiao's been ducking him since 2015. And here's the thing, this is a business. This game is a business. Manny Pacquiao would fight Terence Crawford. There's no issue in not fighting Terence Crawford, right? Manny Pacquiao shown throughout his career that he would fight anyone, right? He fought guys bigger than him, twice the size of him, where people thought he shouldn't be taking those fights, it's dangerous for his health, and he ended up going in there and beating them. So he's not afraid to fight Terence Crawford. We should get that out there. But Terence Crawford feels a little frustrated because Terence Crawford feels that I've been looking to fight Manny Pacquiao. I've been looking to fight Manny Pacquiao for a very long time, but the fight's not been materializing. The reason why the fight's not materializing is because of your star power. It's because of the fact that that fight didn't have enough money in it. Right? Manny Pacquiao asked Bob Arum that I think he asked for something like $20 million or whatever. And that fight doesn't pay Manny Pacquiao $20 million. And I'm pretty sure in the Thurman fight, he got paid a good amount of money. I don't know if it was 20 million, but I'm pretty sure it must have been a figure near there. Terence Crawford's fight, I don't think they were offering him enough money. So it had nothing to do with the fact that, because the way Terence Crawford talks about it is as if Manny Pacquiao's avoiding Crawford. But his own promoter just a couple days ago or a week ago came out and said that he's been in talks with Pacquiao's team about making a Crawford fight. This is what his promoter's been saying. But then Pacquiao's team came out and said that that's nonsense. So we don't know what's coming out from the Crawford camp. We don't know what's going on. Crawford's saying one thing, Bob Arum's saying another thing. But one thing is for sure, that I do think Manny Pacquiao may face Spence over Terence Crawford, because the Spence fight's a bigger fight. It's a bigger money fight. Now, the Crawford fight is a much bigger fight now, because it's a unification fight between Pacquiao and Crawford than what it was back then. Now it's a much bigger fight. Plus, Crawford's a welterweight world champion and Pacquiao's a welterweight world champion. So it's a unification fight. It's a big fight. So it may pay Pacquiao what he wants now. But back then, Crawford just wasn't a name, wasn't a star. You know, he's a good fighter. Yeah, we all know he's a good fighter, but he's a good fighter that hasn't got a fan base, right? And because of the lack of fan base, the purses he gets and the purses his opponent would get are not great. And Manny Pacquiao will be bringing a lot to that fight, virtually everything to that fight, because we know Terence Crawford's pay-per-view numbers have been terrible. He's only been on 2 pay-per-view cards, and the numbers have been poor, right? So it's gonna be Manny Pacquiao's gonna be the one that's gonna be, you know, it's his popularity that's gonna be getting those pay-per-view buys. Now Crawford may say, "Well, I'm a great fighter." Yeah, you are, but that being a great fighter doesn't sell tickets or sell pay-per-views, and obviously because Crawford's an example of that. You know, he's not a big draw. He's not a big draw. And that's not having a dig at Crawford. That's just the truth. He's not a big draw for some reason. I don't know why. And the problem is, a lot of you guys will attack people that will say, that are saying what it is, but you won't support him. It's you guys that should be getting behind Crawford and buying his pay-per-views. His numbers are terrible. You know, look at the numbers that Manny Pacquiao's done during his career. Look at the numbers that Mayweather's done during his career. Crawford's, like, he's been on 2 pay-per-views. One pay-per-view did 50,000. One pay-per-view did 150,000. His number, like, what's going on? You know, he's just not a pay-per-view star. He's not a draw. He doesn't sell for some reason. I don't know why. Now, you guys living in America should know. You Crawford fans should know why. Why is it that he doesn't sell? Manny Pacquiao's done millions of pay-per-view buys. You know, Mayweather's done millions of... Why isn't Crawford selling? Why? I don't know. But the thing is, that's the reason that fight wasn't appealing to Manny Pacquiao. And plus, at the time, Crawford wasn't a welterweight world champion. Crawford was a nobody in the welterweight division. Manny Pacquiao had bigger fish to fry, you know? So he's not going to take attention of Crawford when Crawford was at 140 and he's doing his thing at 147. There's no reason for him to fight Crawford, you know? And then if Crawford was a big name and a big draw, right, well, he's doing 1 million pay-per-view buys, then of course Pacquiao would fight him because the money would be so great. But the money just isn't there for a Crawford fight. Crawford... I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. The public's just not taken to him. And from what I gauge in America, there's a lot of media that are not happy with Terence Crawford because they feel that Terence Crawford doesn't engage with the media like he should do. Now, I don't know. I think Terence Crawford's pretty cool and he does engage with the media, I think. But there have been certain criticism of certain media outlets that I've seen criticize Crawford for not doing enough media work. Now, I don't know. I think someone like Crawford should be doing loads of media work because to get his name out there. But I don't believe Terence Crawford. I don't believe Manny Pacquiao docked him. I just think it was a case where Manny Pacquiao, it didn't make sense for him. Crawford's wasn't a name. He wasn't a champion at that point, and his pay-per-view numbers. I do think the fight, because of the fact that Manny Pacquiao will be bringing a lot to that fight, and Crawford's a world champion now, it's a unification fight. The fight would be much bigger now. So Pacquiao may be interested. But I think a fight with Spence is more appealing because Spence is a unified champion and Spence is a bigger name. He's done bigger pay-per-view numbers than Crawford. So that fight's going to make more money for Pacquiao. So it makes more sense to fight Spence. And he's with Al Heyman and PBC. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about what Crawford's saying. Do you think it's just Crawford being frustrated and not getting the fights? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.
I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support. Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page. And I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute, I've got two options. Hopefully, I will increase this if my Patreon grows. But at the minute, I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face. And I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out.
Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So let's talk Bob Arum. Bob Arum's made some outlandish claims that a Manny Pacquiao Terence Crawford fight may happen in China. It could either happen in the Middle East or even China, Macau. What do you guys make of that? You know, obviously we know that the coronavirus that's what we hear on the news, that it first came from China, and we don't really know what the situation is in China. So do you think it's a crazy move to be fighting there? Obviously we don't know, because now the coronavirus is spread all over the world. So is it really going to make a difference if they're going to fight in Saudi Arabia, if they're going to fight in China? Because even in the UK, for example, it's gone really bad. We've had over 26,000 deaths. So I did find it strange though. Why China? Is there big money there for that fight? What? You know, the Middle East, I understand, because a lot of big fights are happening there now in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, and so it doesn't shock me. But China, what big fights recently have happened in China? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you guys can point it out, but I don't know whether there's big China or splashing the cash. I don't know. I do think, obviously, with the current situation, I do think that many people are going to avoid going to China. Are the fighters going to be okay going with that? Listen, like I said, I think the coronavirus is spread everywhere. You know, what's to say that they won't get it in their own country? Because they're going to have to fight. If they fight in the US, they're going to have to fight somewhere, aren't they? And yes, there's certain places in the US that are not bad, but you're at risk. You're at risk everywhere now around the world. People are wearing masks everywhere around the world because the coronavirus is spread everywhere. You know, the whole world is in lockdown. You know, I've heard Sweden that they've not approached the lockdown method, where they're not doing what other countries are doing in terms of having a lockdown. But most countries have a lockdown right now, that you can't leave your house. And here in the UK, there's rumors that it may extend. So we've now got it till May the 8th, and it may extend till June. I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah. So what do you guys make of this news that, you know, Bob Arum saying that Pacquiao Crawford could happen in China? Do you think that's a smart move? Do you think Macau? I don't know whether Macau was one of the places that were really badly affected. I don't know, because I know there was certain parts of China that was affected really badly, but there was also certain parts that weren't as bad. But again, people travel, so it's gonna spread. So I do think that if there's money there, if they put the money up, and that's where the most money can be generated for that fight, then I think go China. Because like I said, I don't think anywhere's safe right now. Or not right now, but I'm talking when boxing does return, whenever it returns for these big fights. I feel like there's going to be a risk no matter where you stage it. So, and I just think that, so as a fighter, you just got to go where the money is, really. And if the money's in China, you got to go to China. Simple as that. I think, again, I don't know. Bob Arum's been talking a lot of late, so we don't know what Bob Arum is saying is, he's been saying a lot of things of late. Initially he was saying that Pacquiao Crawford isn't a great fight. Now all of a sudden he seems like he's jumped on it and he wants to make that fight, or he wants to make the Spence fight. Not so long ago he was saying, it wouldn't be good for Pacquiao's health to fight Crawford. Now all of a sudden he's okay with it. I don't know. I always thought it was a great fight. I always thought it was a massive monster fight. But I just think, I just think a lot of you keep saying that it's not a big pay-per-view fight, but it will be if Pacquiao fights Crawford. Crawford's one of the best fighters in the world, and Pacquiao is still one of the top fighters in the world, and he's also a massive draw. So when you put them two together, it's going to be a big fight for sure. I don't know why they wouldn't do that in America. Maybe because they don't feel that the pay-per-view numbers will be any good. That's the only thing I can think of, because why wouldn't you have that fight in America? Maybe they feel that they can make more money elsewhere, because Crawford's not a big draw at all. That's the problem. If Crawford was a big draw, I think Pacquiao Spence will happen in the US, because the fights, Spence is also a big name, and then when you put Pacquiao together, you're looking at some good pay-per-view numbers. Problem is Crawford does not great pay-per-view numbers, and I don't think Pacquiao's going to be able to carry that alone. Do you know what I mean? I think he needs a dance partner with a bit of popularity. But again, that's a big fight. Crawford's a good fighter, but being a good fighter is not enough in today's time. You've got to be able to sell. And fortunately, Crawford's not got a great track record. His fight against Amir Khan did 150,000 buys, right? And that Amir Khan's a good name, a big name, right? His fight with Victor Postol did 60,000 or something like that. That's terrible. 60,000 people bought that pay-per-view. That's really bad. So what do you guys make of it? Do you think you have no choice but to take this fight into another country where, an investor can come in and pay a huge amount of money? Because maybe that's the only way a fight with like Crawford and Pacquiao can be made. Maybe in terms of, because here's the problem. They'll make a loss. If they pay Pacquiao what he wants and they pay Crawford what he wants for that fight, they'll be making a loss, because the pay-per-view numbers aren't going to do what they need in order to make a profit. So they're going to make a loss. So they need to take this fight, China or Dubai, in order to make it work financially for the fighters and for themselves. So because they don't want to make enough more loss. We know they made a loss for Fury Wilder. They didn't break even. So they can't keep making losses. At the end of the day, it's a business. You've got to make a profit eventually. So I think taking it to China, taking it to Saudi Arabia probably is the right move. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford in China is a great move? Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.
I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support. Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page. And I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute, I've got two options. Hopefully, I will increase this if my Patreon grows. But at the minute, I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face. And I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs, where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out.
Guys, one of you asked me if Manny Pacquiao was to beat Crawford or Spence, is he the greatest fighter of all time? Now, I have a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans that already think he's the greatest. You know, obviously I have a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans, so a lot of them just love Pacquiao and they think he's the greatest. I have a lot of fans that also are non-biased as well. Although they love Pacquiao, they want to know what's my opinion. Do I think he's the greatest if he beats Crawford or Spence? I do think, here's the thing, I think we'll have to definitely, if Pacquiao beats Crawford or Spence, for me, and I know I'm going to have a lot of Floyd fans come at me here, but I think he'll go down greater than Floyd Mayweather. And people may think he goes down greater than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I think if they were to leave the sport right now, I think Floyd will probably be seen as greater than Pacquiao. Even though I think, again, I think it depends on what you think's great, right? Like we had this discussion the other day. So, of course, for certain people, Pacquiao will always be greater. But I think majority of the boxing fans will probably have Floyd as a greater legend than Pacquiao. And I think Pacquiao's top 10 now. But if Pacquiao beats Spence or Crawford, for me, Pacquiao's is in the top 5 greatest fighters of all time. I genuinely believe that. Because he would just be beating two guys in their prime that are pound for pound fighters. If he was to beat, and let's be honest, none of us would give Floyd right now, being inactive, being 43, a chance against Spence or Crawford. Let's not forget, Floyd and Manny are around the same era, right? Floyd's not fighting anymore, he's retired. Manny Pacquiao's still fighting. Manny Pacquiao beats one of Spence or Crawford, in my opinion, he will go down as a greater legend than Floyd. And not just a greater legend, I think you could put Pacquiao up there as the greatest ever, or even in the top 5 greatest fighters of all time. I think you have to. I think you have to. Being an 8 division champion and then beating the current pound for pound fighters in the world would make him definitely top 5. I just don't think you could argue with that. Greatest of all time. You know, and I think Tim Bradley said this as well. That if Pacquiao beats one of Spence or Crawford, I'm talking about top 5 greatest fighter of all time. And so the reporter thought he was talking about pound for pound. And Bradley's like, pound for pound? I'm talking about pound for pound, the greatest fighter of all time. Top 5, top 3. This is what Bradley was saying. And I agree. If he beats Spence or Crawford, he goes down a bigger great than Floyd. And he goes down as one of the greatest. And if you were to argue, if you were to say to me, Imran, for me, Pacquiao's the greatest fighter of all time, I wouldn't disagree with you. You're entitled to your opinion. Even if Pacquiao was to beat Spence or Crawford, I still wouldn't think he's the greatest, but I would definitely say he's one of the greatest. For me, the greatest are Robinson and Ali. I think those two are probably the 2 best fighters we've ever laced up a pair of boxing gloves, if I'm honest. But Pacquiao's definitely up there. He's definitely up there. You know, if he beats one of Spence or Crawford, I'm sorry, but that's not right. You know, that would be that you'd have to say he's the greatest of this era, even though Floyd beat him. You'd have to say he's the greatest of this era, because by beating Spence or Crawford, that take him to another level. He'd be beating a new generation of top fighters that are currently pound for pound. It's not like Bernard Hopkins winning a title at 47. Yes, it was great that he won the title at 47 and it's ridiculous. But he would be beating a pound for pound fighter. When Bernard Hopkins fought Kovalev, we saw how that went down. He struggled. If Pacquiao was to beat Spence or Crawford, that for me is he'd become pound for pound the best fighter in the world at the age of 41. That's ridiculous. Now, there's been guys that have come back at old age and put in good performances and won fights, etc. But this guy would just beaten the best, probably, if he beats Crawford, that's probably arguably one of the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Spence, one of the best pound for pound, top 5 at least. So, for me, if he goes and does that, I don't think how you can argue that Pacquiao goes down as the greatest fighter of this era. But not just that, you'd probably have to put him top 5 greatest fighter of all time. That's my opinion. Now others, they already think he's the great. Some Pacquiao fans think he's the greatest already. But I think you'd have to put him up top 5. I just think you'd have to. I think you'd have to. You know, his resume would speak for itself. It's an incredible achievement what he's done. 8 division world champion. But if he was to beat Spence or Crawford, he may be the greatest. For me, top 5 greatest fighters of all time. And some of you say, oh, you're putting him top 5, he's the great. Top 5, do you know what top 5 is? Greatest fighter of all time. Look how many great fighters we've graced on this earth, right? To be in the top 5 is like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But again, I will say this, that being the greatest, it's a matter of opinion. You know, people will say Muhammad Ali, Sugar Robinson. Some people may say Pacquiao. Some people say Mayweather. Some people will say Sugar Ray Leonard. Some people, Marvin Hagler. You know, everyone's got their own opinion of what they see as the great, you know. But again, if Pacquiao beats Spence or Crawford, what's the ceiling for this guy? I don't know. I don't know. I just think he'd be one of the best. But that's my take on it. There's not much more I can add to that, because if he beats those guys, there isn't a ceiling. He's potentially the greatest, and definitely top 5 in my opinion. Top 5 greatest fighter of all time. Because he would have just beaten a pound for pound, you know, and become number 1 pound for pound at age of 41. So that's my take on it. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Guys, what's going on, ladies and gents? I hope you're all well. Guys, whenever I look at myself in the camera now, when I see this thick beard, oh man, it's getting to me. It's getting to me. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking the way it looks, and I'm not liking the way it feels at the minute as well. I need to get rid of it. Just lazy, stuck in this lockdown. I can't be arsed. And you know what? Now that it's got so thick, I don't want to make a mess. I don't. But I hope you guys are well, staying safe, following the government guidelines, staying at home. I know I have a lot of Filipino and United States subscribers. How is it in your country? Are you currently in a lockdown, or is the lockdown easing? Because it looks like here we're still in lockdown, and I don't know if it's going to get any better anytime soon. So I would love to know where you are, wherever you're from, not just United States or the Philippines, or wherever you are in the world. Leave your comments down in the comment section of how the situation is. Are you currently in a lockdown, or are you currently or have the restrictions been eased in your country? Because I know it was like a worldwide lockdown where virtually everyone was locked down, but you know, I know certain places the lockdown has eased. Here in the UK, the lockdown is still currently in full effect. So yeah, hopefully things ease up sometime soon and we can get back to I don't think we'll ever get back to normal, especially in the foreseeable future. But I do think they'll probably start easing the lockdown. But I don't think we'll get back to normal. I think 2020 will probably be like this all year, where I won't be surprised if we do try to get back to normal. I think there will be a lot of guidelines. There'll be a lot of things put in place moving forward when we do eventually start work, like a lot of social distancing, etc. But there may even be a possibility that there may be a second wave if, you know, they get back to normal. And I think that's why they're worried about it, and that's why they don't want to ease the lockdown, because today we had like 600 deaths as well. So, you know, it seems like it's a real problem for the government. But let's move on. Let's get on to boxing. Too much of talking about the coronavirus, but I want to talk Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman tells Terence Crawford, send the contract, bad boy. Send the contract. Now, Keith Thurman, we know Keith Thurman he wants to fight. He wants to fight, and I think he wants to prove himself. I think, you know what, Keith Thurman's, he's heard what people have been saying about him. He's heard what I've been saying about him. That he's lost that fire. He's lost that hunger. And we don't see the same Keith Thurman. And all of a sudden, Keith Thurman's come out firing in interviews saying, I want Crawford. I want Spence. I want Pacquiao. He even said, I don't need a tune-up fight. He goes, I'm not in this business for tune-up fights. I'm not in this business for tune-up fights. I want a big fight right away. This game's too hard for easy money. It's too hard. I'd rather work in McDonald's. This is what Keith Thurman said. He goes, I want to jump in straight to a big fight. I don't want a tune-up fight. And he thinks he can take Crawford out. You know, listen, Terence Crawford, this would be the ideal. If Terence Crawford realizes that there's a possibility Keith Thurman wants to fight him, Terence Crawford needs to start knocking Bob Arum's door down. Firstly, the Kell Brook fight now is unlikely. Bob Arum has said himself that it's unlikely that a US fighter can fly out to the UK and a UK fighter can fly out to the US. So that there's going to be a lot of complications in making the Kell Brook fight now anyway for Bob Arum, Eddie, and it's going to be a difficult situation. And also, if the Keith Thurman fight is possible, because Keith Thurman said for November he wants that fight. He says he wouldn't mind. It's his birthday in November, and he wouldn't mind fighting Terence Crawford in November. If Terence Crawford has an inkling that Keith Thurman wants to fight him, Terence Crawford needs to break the door down to make this fight happen, because this is the ideal fight for Terence Crawford. This is a fight where would be the best guy on his resume. This would be a brilliant fight. I think Terence Crawford needs to break the door down. I do. I think it's a great fight for him. I think it's a fight where he can prove a lot. He can definitely prove a lot. He can prove to the world how good he is. There's been a lot of doubts. People questioning Terence Crawford, saying that he hasn't fought no one. You know, he's a guy that talks a lot. He hasn't fought anybody. He needs wins on his resume. Well, guess what? Keith Thurman is definitely a legitimate guy, a former unified welterweight champion of the world. This is a guy with real credentials. He beat Danny Garcia. He beat Sean Porter. He lost to Manny Pacquiao in a good, well contested fight. So Keith Thurman is a very, very credible fight for Crawford, and a lot of you feel that Keith Thurman knocks out Crawford or beats Crawford. Now I don't know how much of that is because Manny Pacquiao beat Thurman. But again, Crawford would be going into that fight as a favorite, as you know, and I would pick Crawford to win. But I do think Keith Thurman can cause the upset. I think if Thurman can crack Crawford enough on that chin, because I do think Crawford's chin is suspect. I do think he can be hurt. I wouldn't give Keith Thurman much of a chance against Spence. I think Spence knocks him out. I think that's a harder fight for him. I would favor Spence massively in that fight. But against Crawford, just because of the fact that Keith Thurman is a big welterweight, he's a strong dude, he's a big dude, he can box, he can move, he can fight. I do give him a chance against Crawford, I do. I think that's a hard fight for Crawford. And it's a legitimate fight. It's a proper test as far as I'm concerned. It's a proper test. And I want to see that fight. I think it's a brilliant fight for Terence Bud Crawford. I think let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Keith Thurman's talking about he doesn't need tune-up fights. Well, then tell Al Heyman to contact Bob Arum and make that fight. Listen, Keith Thurman is not a welterweight world champion anymore. You know, this is an opportunity. If Keith Thurman believes in himself, because Keith Thurman also said, he kind of contradicted himself. He says, I don't need tune-up fights. But then he said, Keith Thurman went on to say, well, I'm not in the business for taking losses. Well, you just said a minute ago that you don't want easy money. Well, if you don't want easy money and you want big money, then that comes with a risk. That comes with a risk of you losing. So I didn't quite understand what Thurman was trying to say from that point. Listen, Thurman needs a big fight. I've said it all along that Thurman needs to be motivated. Thurman can't be going... into 12-week training camps, not motivated, going in against lower level opposition, because there's a chance that he might get beat by those guys, and he may not be motivated because Thurman's made a lot of money now. He's made some good money. He's only going to be motivated by big money and challenges, and Crawford brings that. Crawford brings big money and challenges, right? Crawford brings a massive challenge where Thurman would be underdog, and it brings a good purse as well for Thurman, which obviously would motivate Thurman. So to be honest, I think that's the perfect fight for him. Forget the tune-up fights, because he might lose a tune-up fight. Who's he going to fight end up in a tune-up fight? We already saw last time he fought a tune-up fight against Lopez, he almost lost. And that's why he started rigorously calling out Pacquiao. Really, he needed one more fight before Pacquiao, but I think he was so afraid that if I have another tune-up fight, I might actually lose, and before I get that payday with Pacquiao. And that's the problem here. He needs to jump into a big fight straight away with Terence Crawford. And if he believes in himself, if he believes in his talent, and he believes that he is what he says he is, I believe he can win this fight. If Thurman goes in there with the same confidence, same belief that he had before, when he wasn't champion, when he was hungry, when he was going to become champion, right? He has that same hunger, that same desire. He's a problem for Terence Crawford. I'm telling you guys, this isn't an easy fight for Terence Crawford. And all the Crawford fans are going to jump on me. This isn't an easy fight for Terence Crawford. Thurman is big, strong. He moves well. He punches hard. This is not an easy fight for Terence Crawford. It is not an easy fight. I'm not saying Thurman's going to win. I'm just saying this is not an easy fight. And if Thurman beats him, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. Because like I said, there is a question mark for me around Terence Crawford's chin. There is. I do think he can be hit and hurt. I've seen it against guys that are not as big, as strong, and hit as hard as Thurman. He's been hurt by lesser men. Lesser men in terms of they're not as big, strong, and punch as hard as Thurman. He hasn't. I think this would be a very tough fight for Keith Thurman. Very, very tough fight. So I want to see it. Because this fight, if Crawford wins this fight in style, because one thing I will say, that Crawford, when he fought Khan, he knew Khan was a big name and he was up for that fight. If you look at that fight, he was really sharp. Yes, Amir Khan was past his best, but Crawford was very sharp in that fight. Against Kavaliauskas, he wasn't as sharp because he probably didn't respect Kavaliauskas like he did with Khan. And he wanted to put on a show. It was a pay-per-view fight. It was a big fight against a big name. He wanted to put on a show. And I think you may get the best of Crawford again, because Crawford will look at Keith Thurman as a threat. And also, it'll be probably a pay-per-view fight. It'll be a big name. It'll be a chance for Crawford to shine. But is Keith Thurman, at this point in his career, still good enough? And just too big, too strong, too powerful, punches too hard? Who knows? He may well be that. He may well be that guy that just be too big, too strong for Crawford. Who knows? I'm telling you, this isn't an easy fight. This is why I'm making videos on this fight, because I actually think this is a great fight. Spence, I think Spence stylistically is all wrong for Thurman. Crawford, however, I do think Thurman has a great chance in that fight, because here's the thing, Crawford doesn't punch as hard. Crawford's not a big puncher. I've seen that throughout his career. He might be knocking guys out. He's not a big puncher, right? Thurman is a good puncher at welterweight, right? And he can box, and he can move, and he's got a good leg. So I think this is a tough fight, and I want to see it. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to know your opinion. Do you think Keith Thurman has a chance of beating Terence Crawford? Is it a fight that you want to see? And do you think both fighters should take this fight next? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next video. Peace.
I want to thank you all for me reaching 7,000 subs. I appreciate your support. Guys, as you can probably see from my channel art, I have recently started Patreon and Blogger. If you were to click on this icon here, it will take you to my Patreon page. And I just want to take you through my Patreon page. So at the minute, I've got two options. Hopefully, I will increase this if my Patreon grows. But at the minute, I've got one option, which is $1 a month fan donation, which will obviously help me produce better quality content on YouTube and faster for you guys. And I've got another option of $3 a month for 2 live streams a week discussing boxing with myself. You guys will get to speak to me face to face. And I'll take you to my boxing blog. So if you were to click on this B sign here, it will take you to my boxing blogs, which is this page here. And all you have to do is click on here, and that will take you to my boxing blogs where you can see all my different articles that I've wrote. So as you can see, I've wrote 6 articles about different topics. So if you want to click on one of my articles, all you got to do is click on this, and it will take you straight to the article, and you can read it, and you can then go back and read the others if you would like. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just highlight this to you. So make sure to read my articles. Make sure to subscribe to my Patreon if you're interested. And guys, I thank you for your support. I thank you for me reaching 7,000 subs. Guys, I'm out.